Well, hello there, you beautiful human, and welcome to your yoga practice. I am Andrea Dawn, and today we're going to be doing a yoga flow for stress relief. It's the perfect time because as I live here in Guatemala in a small rural town, it seems impossible to find a time in the day where there is quiet. Whether it's the roosters, the dogs, the political announcements, the machines on the property doing work, I find myself getting really frustrated with noise. And so, using the tool of yoga and coming back to my practice to find that silence within, even when there's a whole lot of noise going on outside. So hopefully this can be helpful for you in your life as well. Let's get started today in a seat. Bring your ears over your shoulders, over your hips. And we will take Rajapradama Mudra. This is a mudra of inner strength, also known as Thunderbolt Mudra. You'll just interlace your fingers and place your hands across your chest. And then from there, relax your jaw, relax your brow, maybe even circle your jaw around in your mouth. And then find a slight upwards turn of your lips. Reside in that space. Acknowledge your breath. Acknowledge your heartbeat, that you are alive. And we will begin today's practice with an Om, this connection we can make to universal consciousness. And so you're welcome to simply receive that Om or Om with me. I find it helpful to use my voice to express myself and to really embody that vibration. If you're choosing to Om with me, inhale. Flutter your eyes open. Release the mudra, circle out your wrists. And we're going to start today's practice in child's pose. So we'll just do a real short warm-up before we get started in our flow. So from your child's pose, just kind of shimmy out your hips a little bit from side to side. Then take your arms out wide to a T, spin your palms face up, lift the hands away like you're trying to lift up the sky. Clasp the hands behind you, lift the held hands away from your low back, and then allow that to draw you up to stand onto your knees. If your knees are sensitive, you can double fold the mats or place a blanket underneath. And from here, we'll just side bend from side to side. And then you might start to take one hand behind the back as you side bend. See if you can find that soft smile on your lips and keep it throughout the whole practice. Tune in with the breath. The breath is the bridge. It's the link between the body, the mind, and the spirit. And we can use it as the driver of our practice to infuse intention, to infuse life, to infuse energy. All right, and now let's just swirl from side to side. So just swiveling and letting the arms swing. Okay, and then we'll bring the hands down. We'll come into our first downward facing dog. Hands about, shoulder width distance, maybe a little wider. Spread your fingers, grip through your finger pads, tuck your toes. Keep your knees bent as you start to lift your hips, and then slowly start to straighten your legs. Maybe walk your feet back a little bit, pedal out your feet. If you're not sure the length of your stance, you can always roll forward into a high plank and then adjust the feet from there. See if you can hide your heels behind your toes. So there's a little spiral of the inner thighs upwards. And then let's just do a little flow into a cat-cow. So roll forward into your high plank, drop your knees. Tilt your tail, drop your belly, lift through your heart and chest. And then point your tail down, lift the belly button up towards the spine, chest bone towards the pubic bone as the head falls down. At the very edge of that, you're still in your cat pose. Meow. Tuck your toes, pike your hips, downward facing dog. Let's just do one more of those. So we'll roll forward, high plank, drop the knees, cow pose, cat pose. At the very edge of your cat pose, tuck your toes, pike your hips, downward facing dog. Amazing. All right, let's inhale to lift the right leg. So use the whole in-breath to lift, and then the whole out-breath. We'll step the right foot in between the palms. So you can start by coming high onto the left tiptoes, come forward, knee up towards the chest, step the foot forward. And then come up onto tented fingers. Now use the core body to lift, and as you do, the right arm will go back, the left arm will go forward. Then lift all the way up into your high crescent. Now the right arm is down next to the side of your body and your left arm is lifted. Reach through your fingertips and allow the armpit or the lat to draw slightly down. And then we're gonna side bend to the right. So energetically, this right knee will press in towards the midline as you side bend over towards the right. Breathe. Long, slow, and steady breaths. Maybe engage in your ujjayi, your audible breath. Let's bring it back, and both hands will meet behind the back, stacked on top of one another. Straighten the right leg. Start to turn across the long side of your mat. Turn your right foot in, your left foot towards the back of the mat. Level hips. And then we'll take it into a modified triangle pose. So you'll start to tilt the hips. Beautiful. And maybe squeeze the bum a little bit and press the hips towards the long side of the mat. Now let's reverse the triangle. So extend your left arm out underneath your ear. Then bring the hips back to neutral. Once the hips are in neutral, keep them there. Stamp down through your feet and reverse your triangle. So my hips stay level as I'm allowing this stretch to come into the side body. Finding opposition by stamping down through the left foot. And then from there, we'll windmill the arms. Bring the right elbow to the outer left knee as the left hand comes behind the low back and you drop the right knee. So we're in this lunge hook twist. Now you could stay right here, or if you wanted to make it a little bit more powerful, a little bit more strengthening, you can lift the back leg. Take this right hand, plant it out in front of the left foot or to the left of the left foot and lift the right leg. You might need a prop here so you can really line up head, heart, hips, and heel. And then rotate to the left for revolved half moon. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Beautiful. Land the ball mound of the left foot. Windmill the arms, warrior two. So warrior two with the left knee bent, hips level. If you had lights on your hips, they'd be facing forward, shoulders over hips, arms to a T. Shoulders relaxed, but still lots of integrity and intention in the arms. Gaze over the left middle finger. Now, Skandasana towards the front of the mat. So straighten your left leg, turn your left foot in, turn your right foot more towards the front left corner of the mat. Start to bend into the right knee and sink to the inside of the knee. Maybe you're staying lifted, bringing the hands down, or sinking all the way down. Use the right elbow to open it up. Press down through the outer blade edge of your right foot like you're dialing a dial over towards the right. Lift up through your heart and chest. Now let's take this along the long side of the mat. So we're going to sweep ourselves along the long side of the mat. Bend into the left knee. Turn that foot back towards the back of the mat. Elbow to quad, right arm overhead into your side angle pose. So if that felt like, that's an interesting transition, as always, with any transition, you can come back and play it out. Okay, I went from Skandasana into my side angle pose. And it could be doing different things, like I swept the arm forward and over. It could be something like sweeping the arm around and over. Inhale. Exhale to windmill the arms down back to the front of the mat. So you're going to pivot on your feet. Frame out the front foot. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. Lift the left leg, standing split. Let the upper body relax. Then maybe you come out of having level hips. So you might bend the knee and open the hip. And then from there, step the left foot behind and outside of the right. So the feet are crossed, pinky to pinky toe. Push down through the big toe ball mounds of your feet. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Roll yourself all the way up to stand. Reach your hands up to high prayer. Rotate to the left. Now we're going to open the arms and lift the left leg into half moon. So as I open my arms into a T, bring this left leg back, half moon pose. So think about that balance in your right foot by pressing down. I need to push down a little bit through my big toe ball mound. I like a little scrunch of the toes pushing down. I feel the arc of my foot lift. And then really engage your outer right hip. Now we're going to come back to that cross-legged stance. So just being mindful and slow, step the left foot back behind and outside of the right. Bring your hands back up to high prayer. Now we're going to go into eagle pose. So you can start by just kickstanding this right foot and coming into a hug. Right arm underneath left. Or you can bend the knees, stack the knees, and lift the right foot and bring the arms to more traditional eagle arms. Elbows in line with shoulders. My right palm or my right fingers are to my left palm. My knees are facing forward. My hips are facing forward. Maybe you sink down even more. You could add a fold. Now we're going to make our way out of that. So you could come all the way back up, or if you're folded, you could stay low, but we're going to take this into warrior 3. So for me, I like to take my arms behind me. I'm going to unravel the arms as I unravel my right leg and fly the right leg back, warrior 3. And from here into our flow. So you'll bring the hands down, step right foot back, step left foot back. Maybe you have a flow that you're used to doing. If you're new to flow, drop your knees. Rock your heart and chest forward. Keep a plank in your core body. As you lower down, elbows go straight back behind you. Once you land on the ground, press the tops of your feet down, your pubic bone down. Find a lift from the middle to upper back. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards the midline. Back to all fours. And then into our downward facing dog. And we'll repeat that on the other side. So I usually switch sides of the mat, but we're going to see if the microphone picks up my voice enough for me to not be facing you and how that works. So inhale to lift the left leg. Exhale to step the left foot in between the palms. This time, as you tent the fingers and lift the core body, the right arm comes forward, the left arm goes back. Then lift. You're in your high crescent with the left arm down, right arm up, side bend. Squeeze the left inner thigh in towards the midline. Now we're going to come back through center as both hands meet behind at the low back. Switch the feet. Left foot turns in, right foot turns towards the back of the mat. Level hips to start. Then start to tilt the hips, triangle pose, or a variation of triangle pose. Sometimes I like to remove parts of the posture so I can focus better on other parts of the posture. Now we're going to reverse this triangle pose, so extend the right arm out, then lift. Once you find level hips, reverse. Inhale. Exhale to windmill the arms down. Right hand comes to the low back as the left elbow hooks around the right knee. Drop the left knee. So we're in this lunge hook facing the back of the mat. If you want it to feel more strong or about strength, then you can lift the back leg. Steady out the breath. Nice work. And now we're going to take this into revolved half moon. So this left hand goes out in front of the right foot or to the right of it. And then you're going to lift the left leg. And maybe you have a prop here. My harmonium happens to be here, and that could be a nice height for me to find level hips, to find alignment between my head and my heart and my hips and my heel, and then rotate the spine to the right. And I'm really squeezing the left inner thigh in towards the midline to find that opposition. Inhale. Exhale to step the ball mound of the left foot down, windmill the arms up, warrior two. So just tuning into the right here and the right now, the sensations that you feel in your body. Giving your energy to the present moment. That's the only place we get to experience life. All right, now we're going to take this into Skandasana. So I'm going to straighten the right leg, turn the right foot in, turn the left foot towards the top right corner, bend into that knee, and then squat down. So lots of variations of Skandasana. It's up to you to find the variation that feels healthy, that feels like it's of benefit. So that doesn't mean it's necessarily comfortable. But we have to establish how much time in that discomfort feels like it's really strengthening our body, our mind, and our spirit. And now we're going to take ourselves along the long side of the mat into side angle back of the mat. So you might flow that, you might come back and really kind of figure out the sequence that your body is moving. Think about your feet moving first. That's your foundation. So we usually have to move the feet first, and then the rest of the body can follow. Now we're going back to the front of the mat. So we're going to windmill the arms down to frame out the left foot. Walk the hands forward, lift the right leg. So we're in a standing split. After you've established level hips, lifting with the hamstring, lifting with the quad, upper body relaxed. Maybe you bend the knee and open the hip. And then step the right foot behind and outside of the left so the feet are crossed. Push down through the big toe ball mound. Squeeze the inner thighs. Roll yourself up to stand. Hands meet at high prayer. Now we're headed into a half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So rotate to the right, and then we're going to take the right leg back and up as the upper body and the arms split open into a T. And then we'll come back to those crossed legs. So as I come up, the right foot's going to meet. Come back to outside of the left, pinky to pinky toe. And now we're going to take this into eagle pose. So you can bring your hands back up to high prayer. come onto the tiptoes of the left foot. This time left arm underneath right. So whether you're keeping the legs as they are or lifting and bending or coming into more traditional eagle arms, finding your eagle variation. So as much as the elbows are reaching away from you, you're drawing your shoulder blades back. Sometimes we like to take that double hook, which is great, but it often turns our hips. So we want to make sure that the hips, again, if we had headlights, they were facing forward. You could see about folding forward. And we're going to meet in a warrior three. So whether that's coming from your fold or you're more upright, but we're going to unravel, I like to sweep my arms back. Any variation with your arms. They could be out wide, they could be out in front, they could be clasped behind you, they could be prayer underneath your chest. And then into our flow. Hands down, step left foot back, step right foot back. You could do that same flow we did before, or if it feels like you've got the strength, we're going to start in high plank, chaturanga dandasana. My elbows are straight back. Over my toes, upward facing dog. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, my thighs don't touch. And then back to downward facing dog. Drop your knees down. Sit back onto your heels. Fall off onto one side. Open your legs out wide to a V. So you're welcome to continue that flow. Push rewind. Do it a few times. Or substitute different postures, add on different postures, make it your own. And then from here, we're just gonna side bend, moving from side to side. And then back through center, step the feet so that the knees are bent and knock the knees into the midline. So we'll just counter that wide stretch. Extend your legs out long. Flex your feet. Tilt the hips forward. And then we'll add here, so this might be plenty. If not, you can go as far as gives you enough sensation. And then we'll just work the hands and the wrists a little bit. So flip the hands upside down, palms face up, and then squeeze the hands into fists. Shake out the hands. Reach for the toes, and then roll yourself all the way down onto your back. Once you get down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest, nice big squeeze. A little rolling from side to side. And into our final resting position, our Shavasana, our corpse pose. So this beautiful opportunity we get to remember that life is not permanent, that we will die. And that we get to make each moment an opportunity to shed and to release and to be a metaphorical death of whatever it is that is not serving our limited time here for this life. So how can we be as present, as powerful, as potent, as purposeful as possible? All the P's. And when we carry around all of the extra weight of our worries and our fears and our stress, we don't get to be who it is that we actually came here to be. We end up concentrating all of our power on the negatives, on the things that we don't want, on the things that we dislike. So sometimes it's just that little degree of shift into gratitude, to seeing what we do have, what we do appreciate, and making it a priority to love yourself. And to know that yoga is a practice that you can always turn to find that re-emergence of who it is that you came here to be. Stay here for as long as you have time. Direct your energy into your heart space. Breathe into your heart space. Know that you are enough, that what you're doing is enough. And the more presence you put into that, the more peace you will experience. I hope that this practice was helpful for you and that there is at least the tiniest shift in the way that you feel. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button so that we can yoga together more often. Give me your feedback or any ideas of what you would like to work on, and I'd be happy to create for you. It's always a blessing, honor, and privilege. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.